Amen.
All right, I want to just thank everybody for coming out, and again, welcome to another Kol Elohim. As always, I want to start out saying that the things that we are going through, if any man thinketh himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the words that we speak are the words of the Most High.
Amen.
Okay? So as we all know, Kanesh Bina is the series, Get Understanding, and that is the whole intent and purpose to better understand the word of the Most High. Today our topic, Hama'or Hagadol La Memshelet Hayom, the greater light to rule the day. Why did Yahweh create the sun? As a subtopic. Why did Yahweh create the sun? Okay. We're going to go through a few things. First and foremost, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And we like to tie that into John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with El, and the Word was Elohim. The reason for this translation is to project a certain thought. The Word being with El, we understand that El is representing the Most High, Yah, who is the Heavenly Father. The Word was Elohim, indicating the plurality, because you have the letters Aleph through Tav being represented in the Word. Okay? So the first day of creation, we pick up in Genesis 1 and 2. Now, as was stated many times before, something occurred between the first and the second verse of Genesis. At later dates, we'll be getting into more detail as to what actually took place. But as you can see, as it reads, and the earth came to be formless and empty. In other words, when the Most High first created the earth, it wasn't formless and empty, but it came to be that way. All right. It says, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the spirit of Elohim, or as we have discovered, the spirit of mighty ones, plural, was moving on the face of the waters. And Elohim said, let light come to be. And light came to be. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. Now, an interesting point to be made about this verse. You do some research, do some studying, you'll find that it actually says, if it was translated literal, and Elohim separated or divided between the light and between the darkness. Now, the word that should have been translated as between is being in the Hebrew. And the interesting point about that is that that word can also mean sons. So another way we can look at this particular verse, and we'll take a further look into that idea, later on when we get into the Torah portion. And Elohim separated the sons of light from the sons of darkness, because that's what was going on during this time. But then it says in verse 5, and Elohim called the light day. And the reason for the underlining of the words is because we're going to take a closer look at those terms. And the darkness he called night. And that came to be evening, and that came to be morning, the first day. Okay. So we take a look at the term day. In the Hebrew, the word is yom. Now, the writing above, this is the ancient pictographic representation of the Hebrew language. And you have the Yod, Wav, Mem. And of course, your modern Hebrew is your Yod, Wav, Mem, or Mem, so speak more correctly. Okay. The reason why I have the Yod and the Wav not memorized, but underlined, is because of what it signifies, what it points to. And we're going to get further into that as we go through the lesson. And now we're going to pick back up and take a closer look at day later on, but there's something else we want to look at. Okay? The term day, simply from 3117, as it states here, it's underlined again from an unused root. What that means is that throughout the scriptures, the root word for the term yom is not used. But it does have a root, as we've been discussing the Hebrew language and how it's built upon a parent root which consists of 2 letters. Well, the 2-letter or the parent root for yom is yod mem, and the word is yam. Okay, but the word that's used in reference to a day is spelled yod waw mem, and it simply means to be hot. A day as the warm hours. All right. And just at the bottom you see it says figuratively a space of time defined by an associated term and so forth. But nevertheless, it means a day. Next term, and this is the term that we want to spend a little more attention on. Night, which is in the Hebrew, layla. Okay, as you can see, it is spelled lamet, yod, lamet, hey. Now, question, before we get into the definition of it, do you notice anything about that word? What do you notice?
See the yod name in it.
Okay, you see the yod and you see the hey. Okay, very good.
Mommy.
Okay, now when we get to the definition, the word is number 3915. It's derived from number 3883. It says properly a twist, a way of the light. Now when you look at the term, how it's written, you got the lamet, yod, lamet, hey. When you think about Yah, you think about that original light. But then Laila being a twist away of the light, that's why you have, you see where we're going at? Okay, that's why you have the name Yod Hey incorporated in the term Laila, but it's separated in a sense of it being twisted away. And that's just from the Hebrew language. Okay. Also, it means night. Figuratively, it also means adversity. Now, we want to focus again on the point that the adversity is present because there's a division between that yod and the hey. That's a disunion, all right? We want to look at some other things. Number 3883, the term is lul, again from an unused root meaning to fold back in the sense of making a spiral. So when you look at the term, let me go back up, a twist. Okay, so that's where you get the turning back or folding back, I'm sorry, and the spiral. Right, so that's just the term it's derived from. Now I want to make another connection. This is Isaiah 14:12. How you have fallen from the heavens, O Lucifer, as it is written in most of your English translations. Son of the morning, you have been cut down to the ground, you who laid low the Gentiles. And again, Lucifer is underlined because we want to look at that in the Hebrew. Now the term as it appears in the Hebrew is Halel. So the actual name of that angel, it wasn't Lucifer. Where they get that term from may have been from the Latin or the Greek version. But the original name of that angel was Halel. And we're going to take a close look at that. It says in the sense of brightness. So keep that in mind. And it's the meaning, the morning star. Now it's coming from number 1984. That word is halal. Does it sound familiar to you? What does it sound like? No. Okay, yeah. We want to tie that in too. But there you go. When we say hallelujah, that's the praise. Now, just from that, what does that tell us about that angel?
What he did.
Okay, just from the name. Okay, as you can see, the term halal is a primitive root. It means to be clear. So let's go back up for a second. When it says halal in the sense of brightness, it says from 1984, in the sense of brightness, this term again, to be clear, originally of sound. Now, I'm not going to get into a lot of details and get into, Lucifer, but do you remember the description of him in the Bible?
Yes.
Okay. So originally of sound, but usually of color. Okay. It means to shine. Hence, to make a show, to boast, and thus to be clamorously foolish. Okay. To raise, to celebrate, to stultify. The word stultify also means to be foolish. Okay. So you see what this term halal represents and how it's incorporated in the name of that deity. All Right? And Lucifer is a deity.